Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're talking about the brand new ASHENED archetype. This is the TCG exclusive archetype for Phantom Nightmare, which is dropping in like 2.5-ish weeks. So very exciting. This is the new Pyro archetype. Keep in mind, we just got Bonfire added to the game in Maze of Millennia, which is a Pyro Rhoda, which makes any level 4 or lower Pyro monster searchable, which should apply to this archetype if they have anything level 4 or lower. We will check on that, but also keep in mind this is only the first 7 cards. The way Konami's been doing this is they give 7 cards in one core set, and then they give 7 cards in the next core set. So 7 whole cards of support coming in the next set. Keep that in mind as we run through this first wave of cards, but hopefully there's just good potential here. I didn't do a video yesterday because they released the artworks for this card and for this archetype and the names, but we didn't have any effects or anything, and I figured we were getting them soon, and we ended up getting them literally one day later. So that's totally cool. Let's just jump into this thing. First off, we start with our first big dragon boy. This is Vadis, the eruption dragon of extinction. This guy looks crazy. I'm not usually a dragon guy, but this guy is the kind of dragon I like. He looks really cool. Plus, he's not even an actual dragon. He's a pyro. Level 9 Dark Pyro, 2800 attack, 1500 defense. During the main phase, if this card is in your hand, you can target one card in a field zone. Special summon this card to your opponent's field, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you can add to your deck to your hand or set one ASHENED continuous trap from your deck. If this card is sent from your opponent's field to the graveyard, you can destroy all monsters on the field. You can only use each effect of Vadis, the eruption dragon of extinction. I'm assuming that's once per turn. Very interesting. The fact that this is a quick effect. And this is also super interesting because technically, even like going second into a strategy that plays a searching field spell, let's say like Manadium, for example, or Kashtira, they activate their field spell. I believe you can just chain this card, targeting their field spell that they just activated in the same chain. This card resolves first, destroying that card and then setting an Ashen continuous trap, and they don't resolve their field spell. Fire King's another one. This card's actually maybe even generically like a good card, like a hand trap almost going second. Although like it's more so for something like Fire King where their whole engine kind of searches Fire King Island, but maybe not as much against the decks that want to hard open their field spell, but still could have applications there. And also I'm sure you're going to be able to destroy your own field spell, and that's not a problem. And I also like that this card just reads if this card is sent from your opponent's field to the graveyard, it does stuff. So still a cool card, all things considered. Interesting card. Not amazing because turn 1 going first doesn't seem that good, but we'll see if there's other applications there. Next up, we have King of the Ashened City. Cats are fighting out there. This is a level 8 Dark Pyro monster, effect monster, 1400 attack, 2700 defense, small attack, actually decent defense here. If Obsidian, the Ashen City, is in the field zone, you can special summon this card from the hand. So this deck seems to be very based around the field spell. But okay, if you can just get the field spell, hopefully there's a really consistent way to get access to it that we'll see later. He summons himself from the hand. Cool. You can only summon him once this way per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon an Ashened monster from hand, except for another copy of himself. Or if your opponent controls a monster with 2800 or more attack, you can special it from the deck instead. So I guess the idea would be give your opponent Vadis and then be able to summon King, and then King summon any other monster from deck. Otherwise, being able to summon from hand is fine. This card just seems a little too contingent on your opponent having a big monster. Unless we can super consistently give them like Vadis, that'd be the bigger question. Next up here, we move to Hero of the Ashen City. This guy's artwork looks awesome. I love his artwork. This is a level 7 Fire Pyro monster, 2600 attack, 2100 defense. If Obsidian, the Ashen City, is in the field zone, you can special summon this card from hand. Okay, cool. You can only special summon this card once per turn this way. During the main phase, quick effect, target one Pyro monster on the field, destroy it. That could be this card, by the way. Then if you destroyed Vadis, Eruption Dragon of Extinction by this effect, you can place an Obsidian in the Ashen City from your deck face up in your field zone. So again, if you're able to place Vadis and get access to this card, you would be able to get Obsidian in the Ashen City, the field spell this deck seems to be based around, straight from the deck. Again, I'm seeing a couple cards that are a little bit too reliant on having the field spell up. Maybe there's a world where we're actually able to like splash in other field spell based engines like Fire King, although these monsters aren't even fire, so they don't even synergize with the Fire King cards much. I'm thinking here. I'm gonna have to look into it more after this on what field spell engines could actually be splashed in here. The last one here, the last main deck card, which by the way, everything else in this archetype is high level. This is the only bonfire search target in this deck. Hopefully it's a good starter. This is Priestess of the Ashen City. We've seen her artwork before. They all look really cool. This is a level 4 Pyro Dark, 1213 for the stats. If Obsidian is in the field zone, special summon this card. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add an Ashened card from your deck to hand. It's a Stratos. That's really good. It's a Stratos that also has the extra synergy to be able to special from hand pretty easily. So we're definitely into that. That's actually a good card, finally. So at least Bonfire makes your probably best normal summon extra searchable, which is pretty good. Now let's get to the spells and traps. I think there's 2 spells, 1 trap. The field spell that we keep hearing about. Obsidian, the Ashen City. Hopefully this card's really good. Field spell, face up special summon monsters your opponent controls become pyro during your turn only. So that makes stuff like Hero way better, because Hero can just destroy any pyro on the field and destroy them to go ahead and place the field spell straight from deck. Oh, but you already would have a field spell if that's the case. That's interesting, actually. So I guess it'd be... Oh, but it would have had to have been Vadis. So I guess this makes so you can just pop stuff other than Vadis, which is, I guess, better. But also still sort of a floodgate. It's not on the opponent's turn, which is kind of the downside. If this was opponent's turn too, this would be sort of a floodgate for certain decks, like Dragon Link and stuff. You can only use each effect of this field spell once per turn. During your end phase, you can target another copy of the field spell in your graveyard, place it on the bottom of your deck, then draw 1 card. Okay, available to get extra resources if you already run through copies of the field spell. And if this card in the field zone is destroyed or banished, you can special summon an Ashened monster from the deck. So also a way to punish the opponent for trying to remove this card in the 2 most common ways in the game right now. I'm into it. The card itself is not so overly powerful, but it does elevate your deck a good bit. Making everything your opponent controls pyro during your turn is nice. Being able to, on end phase, potentially just get a free draw is nice. And then the fact that it floats, if it's removed, basically dares your opponent to remove it. And I like that it has the banish clause too, because even stuff like SP, those super easily makeable extract monsters for removal, not getting around it that easily. So really nice. We'll see if that works out. And the quick play spell here, Awakening of Vadis, quick play spell. This does not have Ashened in the name, so it's not searchable by the other cards, which is interesting to note. Place the field spell from your deck face up in either field zone. Then, if your opponent controls a card in their field zone, you can add a level 5 or higher Dark Pyro monster from your deck to your hand. I'm assuming that's not too many monsters outside of this archetype. Dark and Pyro don't usually overlap for monsters, but it can get you Vadis, it can get you King, and is it 8 or higher or 6 or higher? It might be Hero as well. Let's see, hold on. 5 or higher, so yeah, also Hero as well. Cool. That gives you 3 definitely usable search targets there, which is really cool. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the deck or extra deck except Pyro monsters. It is what it is. This card's pretty powerful for what it is. It gets you the field spell and searches a card that can be summoned if that field spell is up. So that's pretty dang good in and of itself. That makes sense that this card is not named Ashened, I guess. And the last card here is Ashened for Eternity. This is a continuous trap. This is the set target off of your first guy, Vadis, being able to get you a continuous trap from the deck when you summon it to your opponent's field. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Vadis, the Eruption Dragon of Extinction, or 1 Ashened monster from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, gets a resource back for follow-up. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Your opponent controls that you own. So Vadis, basically. Take control of that monster. Then you can make all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to the targeted monster's original attack, which is 2,800 for Vadis specifically. And this attack change lasts until the end of the turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. You can only activate one ASHENED for eternity once per turn. Overall, not super impressed with this trap card. I mean, getting something back from grave is nice, but getting something from deck would have been considerably stronger here. This, to me, has super staple TCG exclusive vibes to me. That this deck seems very fragile, very centered around one central card. That means it can be basically killed by like one, I don't want to say cosmic because the field spell does float if it gets cosmic, but basically one removal of the field spell that's not sending it to grave or banishing it, which would be like a shuffle or a bounce or something, away from basically killing this whole deck. Now, I guess the field spell does kind of give you ways to kind of not care as much about those types of removals, but you know, it is still a weakness in and of itself. All in all, though, I'm not sure I'm seeing like the full synergy of this deck so far. I see some cool pieces. Obviously, Priestess is a really good engine piece. Obsidian, not a bad card, but because it seems so easy to get, hopefully it's good enough in conjunction with the rest of the archetype. This card's cool, but is only okay if your opponent doesn't have a field spell. And everything else just seems like kind of just okay to me. I'm not overly impressed with this. I think, though, it is a start. And like we've said multiple times before, TCG exclusive archetypes are all about getting 7 cards in the first wave, 7 cards in the second wave, and hopefully that second wave is good enough. Now, Konami is, in my opinion, consistently underwhelmed with the second waves of these TCG exclusive archetypes, barring a couple of specific ones. But this is one where I hope that they honestly come through on. Yeah, I'm a little bit underwhelmed overall. I give it like a 6 out of 10 so far, but that's with not knowing what the next 7 cards are going to be. I don't know. I don't think a single time Konami has released the first wave of a TCG exclusive since they've been in this format of like giving 7 cards per core set, that they've actually like been a playable archetype after the first wave. They needed that second wave to really come through. And I think that's where we are now. So all it is sit back and wait. Hopefully when Legacy of Destruction is coming to the TCG that we get the next 7 cards, and those next 7 cards are good enough to propel this archetype to the next level. But until then, I'm sitting here just thinking they're an okay start, and we need to see what the second wave is. So that's my opinion. Obviously, let me know your guys' thoughts down below. If you think this archetype is better than I'm giving credit for it, let me know and let me know why. If you think they're worse, let me know and let me know why. And, you know, if you think I'm in line, let me know. But I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will keep you updated on all the rest of Yu-Gi-Oh! News coming shortly, coming soon. The rest of Legacy of Destruction, the rest of the Phantom Nightmare TCG exclusives and OCG imports will be coming very soon, and far more than that. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see that. But I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.